I am Ghosthunter Dan. My partner Larry is out in the crowd. Today we're going to be talking about the ghosts of the Black Hawk War. The Black Hawk War sites here in Illinois are something that I took a lot of interest in because they're very seldom ever investigated. And we've caught some really good stuff there. So, our team consists of myself, my partner Larry, over at the table is our sensitive Tessa, fellow investigator Gary Roach, and fellow investigator Steve Wren. They're not here right now because they both had to work today. We got our start as Small Town Paranormal in 2009. I then branched out and formed the Ghosthunter Dan Norvell project in 2012. Biggest reason is somebody else started a Small Town Paranormal down south and they patented the name, and I didn't want to go to court over a name. So, not too many people with my name, so I thought that was a safe bet. We primarily investigate in the northern Illinois region, but we will travel to nearby states if necessary. Currently, we're running 2 web series on our YouTube channel. One is Expedition Entity, and the other one is Lifting the Veil, Haunted or Not. Lifting the Veil, we travel to locations and we do a little bit of investigation, and we decide if it's urban legend or if there's anything that really warrants us to call it haunted, and then we give our opinion on it. Incidentally, Bloods Point Cemetery and Road is not haunted, just so you all know. Expedition Entity is a traditional investigation series where the team investigates locations where viewers may be unaware of the location, the haunted history of that location. And I already talked about Lifting the Veil for you. So, Larry and I are also paranormal authors. Together, Larry and I have co-authored one paranormal book together, which is available over at our table. We're currently working on our newest book, The Ghosts of the Black Hawk War. And our original book is called Paranormal Theories, A Logical Approach, which was published to Amazon. The book, Paranormal Theories, talks about different theories that Larry and I use in our investigations. And some of the examples are how spirits can make us sick, spiritual anchors, what might be holding somebody here, where the paranormal realm may exist, we're talking dimensionally, and how quartz plays an intricate role in the stone tape theory. So our new book, The Ghosts of the Black Hawk War, will be available in 2019, and the book will kind of showcase the sites and the history, but there's been many books written about the Black Hawk War that tell the great history. We're going to put the history in there, and then we are going to provide the captured evidence of each battle site that we visit. Some of the battle sites that are going to be included are going to be Stillman's Run in Stillman Valley, Illinois, Kellogg's Grove Battleground up in unincorporated Kent, Illinois, Black Hawk's Gathering Site, which is just outside of Rockford, and the murders at Old Man's Creek, which plays a part in the Stillman Valley battle site, but is just a little bit north of there. So, welcome to the Ghosts of the Black Hawk War. The Black Hawk War started April 6, 1832, when Black Hawk and his band crossed the Mississippi River near present-day Rock Island, back into Illinois from being exiled over into Iowa. From there, they traveled north along the Rock River to the site where the Rock and Kishwaukee rivers meet, just south of the Rockford Airport. This site is where Black Hawk gathered his British band, where the 2 rivers meet. The Kishwaukee River, as you can see, dumps right into the Rock River right there. This is where Black Hawk petitioned a nearby Potawatomi village to meet with him. Both during the conference and the private meeting that same night, Potawatomi informed Black Hawk they would not be able to supply him with corn, they would not take part in this war, and they also advised him he would not receive any help from the British up in Milwaukee. So, we've done some tests here. The first one is a UV camera picture what it appears to be 4 heads, maybe the starts of their shoulders, possibly on horseback. What was interesting about this slide is the Native Americans back at the time used to sometimes ride 2 per horse, and they would always ride single file so they could hide their numbers. So when the militia came across these trails, they didn't know if you had 5,000 warriors or 5. They had no idea, because that's the way the Native Americans moved. We've done ghost box sessions here, and Larry's going to show you an example of one. Did you want war, or did you want peace? Peace. That was distinct.
Very quick, too.
Okay, we thank you for talking with us. Would you like us to come back and talk to you again? I heard a really quick, okay, we're here. Okay, well, we do thank you for talking to us, and we will come back, so thank you. Now, what's worth mentioning is Larry and I have been doing in the last year a lot of ghost box stuff. The ghost box is still up for debate. As a matter of fact, it was something that we never used in the past. However, as you can see on the bridge, it seems that a lot of these sites are very close to a road, and EVP sessions just don't cut it. So, we use the ghost box, so we can at least get an answer. When we use the ghost box, we run it in reverse, and we usually run it on the AM frequency. The interesting thing about some of the responses that we're getting is they are responses associated with the place and what we're asking. So I'm still kind of out on the ghost box, but as you can see in the video, a truck went by while we were doing it. Stillman's Valley battle site. The battle site's up here, and 15 yards to the north is Route 72, which trucks and cars go through there all night long. So you're never going to have a quiet EVP session there ever. Larry's laughing right now. This is what he calls the freak out video. Now, I don't normally freak out. I spent 16 years in the fire service, 6 of them as a paramedic in Chicago. I am currently a corrections officer and have been for the past 12 years. Not a lot scares me or freaks me out. Larry will probably tell you Dan was crapping his pants. You guys be the judge. Here you go, Larry. It's all yours. Hey everybody, Ghosthunter Dan. Larry and I are back at the gathering spot of Black Hawk Warriors at night. So we're going to try a ghost box session. What the holy is that?
What are you looking at?
Dude, I swear to God, somebody just walked across the water.
What?
A dude just walked across the water.
How could you see that?
Because I can see it off the shine of the sink. Can you see the water there?
I can't see anything. There's no light bouncing off of it. I don't have a flashlight.
Okay, well, whatever. Let's get this done.
I love that video.
I'm sure you guys will probably see that again once or twice. So, anyway, yeah, that was my freak out video. You can enjoy that on our YouTube channel without the bleeps. Anyhow, the gathering site, I have visited numerous times. Larry and I have visited a few times together, sometimes with Tessa. By the way, Tessa is our sensitive. Tessa can attest that she does feel things out there. We've recorded modest ghost box sessions out there, and with the picture and the dude I saw walking across the top of the water, our conclusion is that the site is probably most definitely haunted with residual haunts and intelligent haunts. That brings us into Old Man's Creek. Up in Old Man's Creek, if you can see where Stillman Valley is, that's where the battle site is. Up there is where, on May 14th, 1832, Major Isaiah Stillman marches out of Dixon's Ferry. Unbeknownst to many, the events at Old Man's Creek provided the spark that started the Black Hawk War. Little known fact is that this was actually a small skirmish that happened where 3 of Black Hawk's warriors were killed just hours before the main battle at Stillman's Run. With 275 men in his command, Major Stillman was ordered to coerce the hostile Indians into submission by Illinois Governor John Reynolds. Setting his camp in a small grove of trees just north of Old Man's Creek, presently called Stillman's Creek, Stillman's camp was excellently chosen. However, as the militiamen started to drink their whiskey rations, their defensive measures soon became an afterthought. Thus appeared 3 mounted native emissaries under a white flag, which threw the camp into chaos. During the interrogation of these emissaries, which none of the volunteers in the militia saw, a militia volunteer spotted 5 natives in the distance observing the encounter. Many historians argue that if these emissaries were given the chance to speak, probably would have never had a Black Hawk War. So, as word of the observers spread throughout the camp, the drunken militiamen scrambled to their horses and galloped in the direction of the warriors. Within minutes, a large portion of Major Stillman's unorganized unit was now barreling through the prairie. As the charging militia began to open fire on the observing natives, the militia left the camp and attacked the emissaries. Numerous reports state that 2 of the observing natives died in the retreat, and at least 1 of the emissaries died in Stillman's camp. The surviving observers raced back towards Black Hawk and his camp with the hopes of establishing peace dashed. Black Hawk prepared 40 of his available warriors and concealed them in bushes. Most of Black Hawk's band, which consisted of about 1,000, were out hunting because they were starving. He only had 40 guys in his camp with him at the time that this all went down. So Black Hawk took himself, 67 years old, and his 40 warriors, and attacked 700 oncoming militia. Old Man's Creek, we have to determine the exact site of where Stillman's camp was. We think it's in the red circle. It's important to mention that Stillman's Run and the Battleground Cemetery are 2 different sites, and if we're able to obtain permission to get up into this area, we will certainly investigate it with everything we have. And we're pretty certain that the possibility exists that paranormal evidence will most likely be caught there. The first emissary that came in holding the white flag, they shot him right there at the site. So they see the other warriors looking, boom, cold blood, that was it. So that brings us to the Battleground Cemetery, Stillman Valley, Illinois. This is the first documented battle of the Black Hawk War. This is where everything started. With ear-piercing shrieks, Black Hawk sprung his trap on the advancing militia. As panic gripped the still drunken soldiers, they swung their mounts around and retreated with the same haste they charged with. As the retreating volunteers sped past their comrades, the disorganized retreat quickly turned into a rout. While Stillman's camp offered many defensive advantages, the terrified soldiers made no attempt to cease their retreat. Only a small detachment of soldiers under the command of Captain John Giles Adams chose to make a stand on the hill of the main camp. The actions of Captain Adams' volunteers allowed the main force the chance to retreat all the way back to Dixon's Ferry, which is in present-day Dixon, Illinois. This UV picture I caught at the Battleground Cemetery. Of course, you can see it was taken in the daytime. Unfortunately for the valiant volunteers, they would all lose their lives. 9 of the 12 soldiers are currently buried at the Stillman Valley Monument. The other 3 are presumed to still be where they fell. The important thing to say about this picture is that Captain Adams, when they were trying to keep Black Hawk's forces off, and they weren't successful at that, they beheaded him, they scalped him, and they pretty much strewed his entrails along with the other 8 people all over the place. This is what the Indians referred to as their brand of psychological warfare. If they scare the hell out of you, you're not going to be very likely to try to attack them again. So the tests that we've performed there, we've saturated it with UV. As you can see, the reason we think this is Captain Adams is because we can only see his head. He was beheaded, and that's really the only thing you can make out. The other reason we think this is John Giles Adams is because he was a commissioned captain. Kind of looks like Wyatt Earp. He would have been the only one in that detachment that stayed behind to defend the hill that would have had to adhere to military grooming standards. Everybody else kind of threw their hair into a ponytail, grabbed their musket or their rifle, and went out to fight. He was actually a military captain. He had to adhere to those standards. So those are the reasons that we think that that picture is indeed John Giles Adams. Ghost box sessions. We've done numerous ghost box sessions with a great deal of appropriate responses. And here's the sample.
Please excuse the font, it's an older video.
How many of you men are still here? EVPs, Larry and I have some very, very nice digital recorders. The bad thing about these recorders is they're almost too good. We have lots of EVP sessions where you can hear the traffic a mile away, or the crickets really well. I got hours of crickets if you guys ever want to hear it. Like I said before, because Route 72, where I'm sitting, 10 yards over. That's where Route 72 is. Thermal monitoring, we haven't really caught anything to date with thermal video. However, we are using a Geiger counter nowadays because that is one of our theories. We did walk into the battleground one night, started out at 0.07. It did rise to 0.274 and then back down to 0.07. Never with outside of normal limits, but we've never had a hit like that anywhere else with the Geiger counter. So, EMF, we've had limited results with our K2 or our ghost meter. So we've performed these tests many times over the past few years. Our conclusion that Stillman's Run battle site is haunted and does have reportable paranormal activity. Right?
Here's one more ghost box session too.
We want to thank you for your service. Well, it was nice talking to you as well. We appreciate your service to the state of Illinois and to the United States of America. So from Stillman's Valley, we now move to Kellogg's Grove. Kellogg's Grove Battleground was the last battleground before the war moved into the state of Wisconsin. Kellogg's Grove was the biggest area that had several small conflicts involving the Illinois militia and Black Hawks warriors. There were 4 major engagements which ended in the Native Americans' favor every time. These include the St. Beret Massacre on May 24th, 1832, Burr Oak Grove on June 16th, Wadham's Grove on June 18th, and then a battle right in Kellogg's Grove on June 25th. The volunteers who lost their lives in these 4 battles are now buried together at Kellogg's Grove Monument. Do you have a picture of that monument? There it is. Okay, so this is a EVP that Larry and I caught the first time that we were out there in the month of January.
Can you say what town you're from? Can you say what town you're from?
Now, you can't really hear it really clear here, but if you go to the video, the episode of Expedition Entity that comes from, you can hear really quickly Kent. Then you kind of hear that little whisper afterwards. The battleground is in unincorporated Kent. So it's kind of one of those EVPs that put us in time and place. We also have ghost box sessions from up there, and there's one distinct ghost box session that we did, and we'll show you those now. Is there anybody here that would like to talk to us? How many of you are around here? I heard 9. I just heard somebody go, fire! Like, give it a run under fire.
Fire, yeah.
I just heard somebody go, fire! Like, give it a run under fire.
Fire, yeah.
Were any of you from Kent? I heard really low, Larry, walking through. K2 and EMF, we've had limited results up there. UV saturation, there's one photo that we've caught, and it lays in the field to the west of the battleground, and it kind of looks like 5 more figures. You can just see the heads of them moving through the tree line, which is something that the militia and the Native Americans both often did. Whoops. Larry, you're messing me up here, man. All right. So, based on our answers from EVP and ghost box sessions performed at the location here, our impression is that the site is actively haunted at this time. This concludes the Black Hawk War part of our presentation. We've had a couple of things come up here in the last 2 months that we thought important to share with you guys. And that is Maple Cemetery in my hometown of Kirkland, where I reside now. Larry and I are in Maple Cemetery all the time. The bad thing about Maple Cemetery is much like Stone Valley, where we stand and do all of our stuff, Pearl Street's right here. So EVPs are pretty much out, and we rely a lot on the ghost box. We've got numerous EMF and different kind of hits with all of our different meters. And the first one is, Larry and I were walking back, we just got done in the cemetery, doing some different stuff, well, on the outside, we don't ever go into the cemetery. But as we're walking back by this tree, right up where the tree crooks open, there was a shadow sitting up in the tree like this, looking at me. And I went, oh man, Larry, there's somebody looking at me. That's Larry's hand holding up the ghost meter, which is doing nothing, but right across the top of the picture is a black mist. It is translucent, and you can actually see the leaves behind the mist. Our first thought was camera strap. We don't generally keep straps on our cameras, so that was out. I don't know if it's paranormal or not, but based on the situation, it was kind of interesting that we caught that. We have a really, really interesting thermal video that we caught at the cemetery in July, and we're going to let you guys look at it. Okay? We'll try, ma'am, sir. Larry, I got one now. Yeah, it's moving through the cemetery. Like right now. Yeah, oh, you bet. It's stuck. Right there, it's a dude. I mean, it's right there. It moved all the way across, man. Okay, I'm running video, Larry. I'm gonna hand it to you. Oh, it disappeared! It disappeared! Oh, now he's standing up. I'm not moving. But I'm going to give it to you and I'm going to shine the light. Ready? Because badass Ghosthunter Dan's going to go over and try to talk to him.
staying still?
62 degrees. The stones are still at 82 degrees.
It's almost like he's peeking out the side of the tree.
It's like he's leaving white out.
Right.
Can you move, sir? Can you walk away from the tree?
Can he even hear you?
There's nothing over there.
Oh, it's not moving at all. I just switch it back to black and white.
I just wanted to test different things. Without the thing. I'd say that.
So you lock it up.
Okay, so that was the thermal video. Now here it is edited, a little shorter than the first one. The music's to cover my second freak out. There it is. Yeah, it's moving through the cemetery, like right now. Yeah, no, you bet. It's right there. It's a good. I mean, it's right there. It moved all the way across, man. Okay, I'm running a video, Larry. I'm gonna hand it to you. Oh, it disappeared. It disappeared. Oh, now he's standing up. I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna shine a light. Ready? Okay.
Okay. Go back.
Who taught me to run that camera, by the way? What a shit.
Yeah.
Shave yourself.
I see him just standing still. It's almost like he's peeking out the side of the tree.
Like he's leaving white out.
Right.
Can you move, sir? Can you walk away from the tree?
Can he even hear you?
See how steady it got once Larry got the camera? Okay, so Brett and Mike from ParanormalWarehouse.com, we sent this video to them. They do a show called Real or Fake. They analyze this stuff pretty well. And we sent them the original video that you just watched. We sent them the edited video. And before we sent it to them, we also sent them this video. Much shorter. We're going to run it 3 times in succession so you guys can see what we're talking about.
Ready? Go ahead. He's moving. Ghosthunter Dan freaking out. Oh my God, Larry, it's moving. Right now, Dan's already keeping up pretty fast.
So the original video over there, as soon as it plays again, you can see the white anomaly moving through. The video over here is me standing where the anomaly was, moving through as well. You can see on the
Ready? Go ahead. He's moving. Ghosthunter Dan freaking out. Oh my God, Larry, it's moving. Right now, Dan's already keeping up pretty fast.
and we'll let you see that one.
Ready? Go ahead. He's moving. Ghosthunter Dan freaking out. Oh my God, Larry, it's moving. Right now, Dan's already keeping up pretty fast.
So, based on all those things that we've caught at Maple Cemetery, Larry, on it.
On it.
All right. Mike and Briggs from Paranormal Warehouse did determine that that was a real video. We did not fake it in any way, shape, or form. If any of you guys have an idea of how we could have faked it, I'm all ears, because I have no idea how to do it. Last but not least, Veterans Memorial Hall. One of the best UV pictures we've ever caught here. Right there, you can see a shadow figure. That is down in the basement steps going into one of the meeting rooms right here in the hall. So maybe tonight some of you guys might catch something like this along with us. And on October 27th, with Haunted Rockford Dust, you might have a chance to catch it again. So at this time, we'd like to thank you all for your time. If you'd like any further information on what we do and what we're about, please stop over and talk to us. And thanks a lot.